Welcome to another edition of Swim Easy Speed. My name is Tim Floyd. I'm a longtime swim and triathlon coach. And today we're going to go over just kind of the different types of freestyles. And this is pretty basic for kind of, and this is more geared towards the triathlon community. And just what I've seen different athletes utilize in terms of the freestyle that's going to work for them for doing an open water swim. And, you know, in some regards, every freestyle that you see here you can use for open water distance swimming. Some you certainly have to train a lot more to make them effective, which I think tends to make them less applicable to open water swimming, but I've seen them work. I even did there's another video up on the channel on different tempos that work, and it's all the way from 1.1 to or 1.2 I think through about 2.0 in terms of the stroke cycle, and so everything will work in between. So this is just kind of a basic overview of the different types of freestyles and typically where you see them within swimming. But like I said, you can use them in just about any open water situation. So, and a lot of swimmers typically can do all three of these that I'm going to show you at various points in a race. So here we go. So the first one's just a sprint freestyle. This one's a little bit slow in terms of the tempo, but I'm working on trying to get it faster. So it's 1.1. So you can see it's more of a, back it up. Well, it's a little bit more of a, it's a straight arm freestyle recovery. And what you're really trying to do here is utilize the momentum from here to really drive that hip connection. To drive this hip connection right there, so we're cross connected like that. We're really trying to drive that connection. And here the pool is running at 51 100 per 100 pace. Typically the kick back here is going to be a 6-beat kick. It's a freestyle sprint stroke. And, we're typically, the best swimmers are like 0.8 to 0.9 is the turnover rate. This one here is 1.1. So, but like I said, I'm still working on it. So you're really using that momentum from the arms to really throw that whole stroke forward. So this next stroke is one of the ones that's become popular as of late within the triathlon community. It's typically referred to as like a Loper stroke. There's a bunch of different names for it. I think it first became popularized, I want to say it was like in the 60s or the 1970s, then went out of favor for a while. I know that a lot of kind of sprint middle distance swimmers, kind of at the international level, Olympic level, are using it a lot in predominantly kind of 100, 200 free. It seems to have become really, really popular. I know that Gary Hall has made a big deal of it on with some of the testing that he's done on the equipment that he's got in terms of what that momentum can do right there when you're throwing your head forward. It typically, the reason I've never really been crazy about it is, we go back to this idea of, getting really long on the water, and it's that length of the water line that has a lot to do with how fast you can go, because it's directly tied into speed and efficiency. When you're doing this kind of Loper stroke, and you can see it, you come up and you go down. You come up and you go down. And, it's one of the things I know that, if you get into competitive sailboat racing, it's one of the things that you're trying to avoid. You're trying to keep that water line as long as possible. And because that's where all the speed's going to be. You kind of have this up and down kind of motion where the water line is shrinking and growing, shrinking and growing. You're going to have really big disruptions in your speed. So, with this one, you get a little bit of a different kick. This tends to be kind of a little bit of a lopsided kick, 4 to 6 beat. So, here's kind of more of a traditional distance stroke. It's balanced, it's long. Tempo's about 1.8. Here we're at 110, 100. Hips and shoulders are really rotating together. They're connected. Kick is usually kind of like a 2-beat kick here. So, really, really long, trying to stretch out, get as much distance per stroke as possible. There's even kind of further exaggerations of this. You get into the guy, what's his name? I think it's Adam Walker, that Ocean Walker stroke that he's been pressing all over the place on social media. That's become popular. I know Ferry Weirtman, kind of in the mid part of his 10K when he won at Rio, had kind of a similar catch-up stroke in the middle, but, had a much faster stroke in the closing 1,000 meters of the race. So you want to be kind of comfortable at one point or another doing all of these different types of strokes, but ultimately should be able to find one that works best for you and is the most efficient. So that's kind of a quick overview of just different strokes, where they're usually applicable and where you usually see them. I hope this helps. And as always, thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, comment, subscribe down below. And, hopefully we'll see you in the pool soon.